Greetings, geeks. Welcome to episode 583 of Geeks in Space. We're watching Predator. I'm here with Chris DeBona.
Hi.
Nate Ostendorp.
Stick around.
Rob Roseboom.
Yeah.
So, Predator is a weird one for me because I don't think I saw Predator as a kid at all. I don't think I saw Predator until, like, college.
High school for me, but yeah. 87 was the year.
87 is the year. I definitely didn't see it as a kid. I knew the creature, but only because it's pretty pervasive in video games.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
I went and saw this at the theater, and it was one of my favorites because, I mean, even by today's standards, I think they did such a good job with the Predator creature.
Mm-hmm.
He looks great. Like,
yeah.
I would be fine seeing that monster in a movie today.
Yeah.
A lot of it holds up.
Yep. This was more of a war movie than I remembered it from when I saw it. Like it feels more like an army flick for the first half.
Yeah,
for sure.
You know, than I recalled it being.
It's interesting. I read a good analysis of this, but the first 30 minutes of this movie is basically demonstrating that Arnie and his team are badass, military survival guys, and they go through their mission and they do all this crazy stuff and they have this awesome mission and we see that they are awesome. And then the next 45 minutes is a horror movie. But like the like a cabin in the woods style, the monster one by one picks off all of the people. Bye, Chris. Until the final showdown when it becomes an Arnold Schwarzenegger jam. Yeah. And let's just watch Arnie do his thing for the last 30 minutes.
And if you haven't watched the video of the original monster in this movie, it's well worth watching and reading about how Jean-Claude Van Damme was kicked off the project, how the movie was pretty much shut down and they weren't sure if they were going to finish it because everyone hated the monster so much, and then they hired Stan Winston and they're like, holy shit, that's a great creature, let's try to finish it.
One of my favorite podcasts, the Empire Movie Podcast, had an interview with Carl Weathers. And he talked for quite a bit about the production of this movie. And this movie is like a legendary production with all sorts of weird shenanigans. But essentially, all of the men in this movie are just lifting weights as furiously as they can, constantly, so that when they're on screen without their shirt, they're super buff. So it's very competitive. And that really comes through.
Yeah, totally.
But all right. With that out of the way, there's our title card. This is the sort of movie that doesn't use the logo of the movie as the title card. I always appreciate when they do it. Oh, we see a spaceship, which is basically the only clue for like the first half of this movie about what's going on, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And holy cow, has this got a lot of people. Oh, and I did not know that Alan Silvestri was the score. Silvestri has he has all the scores. From Back to the Future to Endgame.
Well, what's funny is, you're so right. The first 20 minutes is honestly as generic an 80s action movie military thing as you can get, with like a little souchon of Rambo First Blood there with Carl Weathers. And it's like, it's kind of a weird movie for the first 20 minutes. You're like, where's this going? And then it goes Predator. And you're like, whoa, all right.
And then it finds it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but like, I'm not sure where people would place peak Arnold, but this is pretty close for me.
Yeah.
In terms of he his accent isn't a big distraction. He looks good. I don't know.
I define peak Arnold as Predator 2 to Terminator 2, or Predator to Terminator 2. Mm-hmm. After Terminator 2, he's a parody of himself. And even in Terminator 2, he's a bit of a parody of himself. But that movie is so big that
where he has a bunch of one-liners in this one too, but not that many, and I think he does a good job of sort of staying out of the way and understanding what his character is supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
he's
so is this after or before Terminator? I mean, because
this is between the Terminators.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. So he's like,
That's-
I can speak. I can use words. Let me use words.
That's one of the reasons Stan Winston got the gig, because they worked on Terminator, and they were like, "What are we going to do?" And Arnold's like, "Let's have Stan do it."
And I will point out this movie cast has 2 future celebrity governors in it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Nice, huh?
Jesse the something or other Ventura.
The body.
I still remember one of the weirder things that we did earlier in the history of Slashdot was at the Minnesota airport. We picked up a bunch of action figures, including Jesse the Body or Jesse the Mind Ventura, and we gave him away as a door prize in our booth.
Yeah, those were our trophies.
Yeah, that was
My
good.
sister had a couple of run-ins with Jesse Ventura when she was in Minnesota because she was working with the Innocent Project. And she ran into him at the State House, and she had some funny stories. It was good, He's an all right guy.
So this is our introduction to Arnold. He's named Dutch.
Dutch, and I would point out the Netherlands and Austria are different countries.
Really? Tell me more about your strange ideas. So Carl Weathers, who.
So cool.
Honestly, I never had a really huge affinity for Carl Weathers. Like, I was always fine with Carl Weathers, but when I saw him in The Mandalorian recently, and then also the fact that he got to direct an episode, and I've listened to a bunch of interviews with him connected to Mandalorian, like, I got major respect for this guy now. He's in Action Jackson, right? That's him?
Yeah, Action Jackson. He was in the fighting movie,
Rocky.
right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Apollo Creed.
Yeah.
Apollo Creed, man.
Yep.
Yeah. So honestly, when it comes down to him, it's him or Billy D. Williams that people like remember from this time in theater because they're mostly racist. And yeah, so.
I never was a Rocky person. I saw Rocky like once. So that just has never been even in my vocabulary, except for like all the cliches. But man, he's really good in this movie, and he hasn't really changed a lot. He's like the same guy. Like his charisma, his energy is still the same, even in Mandalorian. But this sequence,
there's so much charisma in this cast, though. Can I just say? I mean, even this is a great cast. Even like the nobodies, they pull it off.
This is one of the best introductions that you'll ever see.
Dylan! You son of a bitch.
Bam!
There you are.
Shot.
There we go. The bicep shot.
Yep.
Because nothing says, special forces like having 24-inch biceps.
I mean, look at how muscular they are.
It's amazing.
I mean, their veins are doing so much work in delivering blood to these fibers.
Dare I say, those 2 arms on screen probably have more muscle than all 8 arms represented by our panel.
More than my leg. Let's get real. I'm just not that strong. But I mean, wow, look at these guys. This is crazy.
I am glad that everybody put notes in for the
I took mine out.
I wanted to get the Dylan, you son of a bitch. Like that's cool. That's cool.
So
like
play this here.
We're a rescue team, not assassins.
There you go. They're laying groundwork that when they go and murder someone, it's for a good reason. They're not out, slaughtering the innocent.
It's good murder.
People. Yeah.
So, I really like this sequence. The soundtrack. This is they're prepping for a jump, and you could drop this in almost any war movie, and it would add panache.
Look at that chin. Look at that chin.
Yep.
And he's got got his chaw that everybody mocks him about.
Yeah. And his ears aren't completely cauliflowered. I mean, yeah. Was anyone going to talk about Shane Black in this thing?
Shane Black in this thing is weird.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's a weird role. And he would end up doing The Predator, I want to say, and some other movies, So
he gets to direct, right? He's a big deal.
I thought someone had put in the sexual Tyrannosaurus line.
Oh, I did.
No,
did it get lost?
Yeah, no, this is it. This is it right here.
Oh.
Yeah, you have to let it play.
Make you a goddamn sexual Tyrannosaurus. Just like me.
Just like me.
Just like me.
You know, if you had to describe Blaine in one line, that's that one doesn't.
Yep.
Yeah, I had actually forgotten that line, and when I got that line, I rewatched it 3 times. I was like, wow. But this movie does the thing that this genre of movie has to get right, which is every character has to be identified, and like you have to know everything about them in like you got 10 seconds of screen time. You know everything you need to know about Arnold Schwarzenegger and Carl Weathers with that you son of a bitch and the arm, like you know their relationship. Like there's a lot of weight that's put on this
There's a
stuff.
sexual friction between them, you know. Yeah.
Whoa, I don't know about that, but
Here I just play this.
They took the 2 men from the helicopter, but there's something else.
What do you mean?
6 men wearing U.S. issued Army boots.
we looking for something.
There we go. Now we go ahead and show how good the Indian tracker is.
Right.
Not all stereotypes are bad.
Yeah, no, I put down on this one, Tonto, put your ear to the ground. What do you hear from the white man? And I'm like, really? Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna go there. Huh?
It's the 80s.
And this guy is an absolute unit, though. It's like there's not a single person in this thing, except for maybe Shane Black, who is not just like they could crush me because they want to.
Oh, this guy,
You know?
this guy, when he's cutting himself up later, he's tough, man.
Yeah.
Everybody in this
All
movie,
tough.
man. I don't want to meet any of these guys in an alley when they're mad.
Angry at me. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd be fine with meeting them, just not
Oh.
like in a weird way.
That's fair.
You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So this is the first kind of gore shot. I think this actually sets the tone of where the movie's going to go pretty well.
This lets you know that something quite isn't right. Just play it for a few seconds here. There we go. Those are black-headed vultures, a completely correct species for where they're supposed to be.
Really?
I give them mad props. Yeah.
That's
And they're
good.
not visually as cool looking as African vultures, which they have one in that scene there. But
It's nice somebody did some research.
yeah.
Did they actually? I assume they actually filmed this in like a real jungle.
It's Mexico where they filmed this.
So they probably, maybe it wasn't even so much a conscious decision as much as what can the local zookeeper get us?
Yeah, maybe.
So go forward. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So sorry, I messed that up.
What did you say? Oh,
And there it is.
Yep. Time to let Painless out of the bag.
painless.
The seventh member of the team.
Yeah.
Actually, they use the same gun in Terminator 2
Yeah.
because it's
that's
a one
true.
of a kind thing. They shorten the barrel.
You know what's weird is that I just watched
Really?
this morning a movie called Boss Level, and in the final sequence of that movie, he uses a gun that's almost exactly the same thing. I assume it's not. I assume it's a tribute made out of foam core, but that weapon, man, it's pretty bad.
Wait, so this is the exact same weapon they used in Terminator 2 in the scene in Fremont? Wow.
Is it something that's actually owned by Arnie?
I don't
might
know.
be.
Arnold owned. He might. Who knows? Yeah.
I know that.
All I
Hero
know is if this was an actual M134 with the ammunition and the batteries you need to keep the barrel going, it weighs in at something about 150 pounds.
Oh,
Yeah.
no. I did the math on this. So the M134A is 85 pounds by itself, right? The ammo pack they're using a 4,000 round ammo pack. That's like another like 250 pounds. And then I figured extra weight for battery and for the chain.
There's
between the
not-
two.
There's
You
not
know?
1,000 rounds in that pack that he's got on. I did the math.
No, that's a 4,000 round pack. That's the
No, it's
size
not.
of it.
There's a lot of things about that gun that seem.
It's a NATO round, right? But if you look it up online,
I did. That pack is not the size that they have in the helicopter.
I'm just telling you, if it's the one from the helicopter, The total pack weight is something like 400 and some pounds.
All right.
I know that I believe
And they use it like it's infinite.
the gun that Arnie uses in Terminator 2 that has like the flip up reload shotgun thing. I think that's one of his because he wanted to do that, so he had it custom made. So I think that Arnie might just collect weapons. Which, I mean, wouldn't you?
That's a business expense.
That's true. Yeah. If I could business expense exotic weapons, I can assure you that my house would be filled with them.
So this is one of my favorite.
I don't care who you are back in the world. You give up position one more time, I'll bleed you real quiet.
Now, team building exercises. Talk about team building.
Yeah.
Right there.
And before this is, I think, Chris, you had a note about all the thermals here.
Oh, yes. Yeah, so this was the first time I seem to remember seeing such a thing.
Yeah.
Before this, I wouldn't know what thermal imaging was. It wasn't common. So
I would be really interested to know, and darn it, Ambalu's not here to look it up for us, what the first movie was where they shoot like a HUD display for the alien. Like we watched Terminator last week, and like the with the digital displays. But like, what was the first movie to like do the view cam, but where they distorted it in a way like this? I'm trying to think of like really early ones, but this is not.
It's got to be like a 1951 Day the Earth Stood Still kind of thing, right? Did they ever do any views from Gort?
Maybe. Oh, poor Gort.
Gort.
Klaatu Baratu Nikta.
Nikta.
So I just this is the era where they like went places and filmed things in places, and I was watching this shot here and just had to say, like, this is really cool because they actually found a big hill, and they like a big hill and had him crawl up. Like, he's really high up. That's a real set. That's cool. They're in a location. Like now that would be all CG, and it would be stitched together, 3 shots composited.
It would be. Yeah, so this was all filmed in the Mexican jungle. And it was supposed to be a Central American rainforest. This was right about the time when I guess the Nicaraguan stuff was going on.
Yeah.
So they were trying to say this is in Nicaragua, but without saying it. I have a note later about this.
So this is one of at least 2 that I can think of scenes where Arnold lifts a car to demonstrate his superhuman strength. He also does it in Twins.
Oh, Commando too. He picks up a Porsche and flips it down him. So
I only know one person who I've ever seen pick up a car. And the good news is that he's here.
Yeah.
And so I think it was the owner of the car.
It was the Sundance. It wasn't that heavy.
So here's our first scene with Painless in action. I also want to point out, like, if you just want to watch some classic 80s war movie gunplay, like, here you go. You got like, I mean, it goes on for a long time. I believe like almost 3 minutes of just continuous firing.
Right.
14-year-old Rob absolutely loved Blaine and this gun. I mean, half this movie is this gun. And, you know.
It's a good sequence.
People on fire, people running around, getting blown up.
Reckless mayhem.
Yeah.
That was you, Chris.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So all I was going to say is, okay, so we have in Mexico, a Central American country, guerrillas, communists speaking Russia. It's like a classic 80s grab bag of sort of like racism and laziness. So,
yep. Didn't have to think too hard about who the bad guy was going to be.
Yeah, it was the brown one.
It was the
brown one's
communist.
freaking Russian.
That's right.
The communists in the jungle. Communists are everywhere.
They're everywhere.
Stick around.
Yep.
Now you know it's a Schwarzenegger film.
Yep. He did it.
Bitches dug in like an Alabama tick.
I love Blaine.
Yeah. And then skipped like maybe 5 seconds.
Oh, I was already way past it. Where was I?
So 28:45.
Okay.
Here we go.
You got time to duck?
Because he says to him, "You're hit, you're bleeding." He's like, "I don't got time to bleed."
I got time to bleed. Another classic line from this movie.
So many.
So you're supposed to play this.
You used to be somebody I could trust. I woke up.
Yeah. So this is such classic 80s, like tough guy. I can't believe you betrayed me. Well, how else could I betray you if it wasn't for the love we share? You know, it's like, it's just so good.
So manly.
I can't believe you betrayed me, but you trusted me. Who else can? You know?
So I just added this note because this is when I realized, oh yeah, I forgot how much of this movie is in Predator vision.
Mm-hmm.
And like definitely by the end, I'm just kind of done watching the Predator vision. Like that did not age as well.
No. Let's see.
So just play this a little bit here. That's good. I had just forgotten how good the score to this movie is.
Mm-hmm.
Like the soundtrack behind everything is fantastic. It really brings this movie up to another level, I think.
Silvestri, man. He's the real deal.
Yep.
And not just for Portals and Back to the Future. I used Portals several times in the last 24 hours. I've been trying to fix some stuff with my speaker alignment in my office, and there's lots of whizzing around during the Portals sequence of Avengers Endgame. So I'm getting very familiar with like when Wanda floats down and the overhead speaker really kicks in. But it's all that Silvestri score, and it feels good.
I don't know. I always found the Avengers scores to be all the one.
Ambaloo says Westworld 1973 was first digital view from Robot Gunslinger.
Oh,
there we go. Thank you, Ambaloo.
You have served us well today. We'll try to betray your trust, though, in the jungles of South America, Mexico.
What's wrong with you?
Is that me? I had the wrong timestamp in there. Oh well.
Billy! Okay, this is a little gross, but...
All right, so there's our first shot.
Yeah. So that's the first time you saw Invisipredator with the little scales and stuff, and I just thought it was so cool. When I first saw it, I was like, "Wow, that's neat," you know. And what I love about this movie is they're like, "This is an effect we can do, and it looks good, and it's kind of a timeless effect, right? It doesn't matter that it was 1982 state of the art. It's they're like, listen, this is going to look good. We're going to do it.
It still looks cool. It's a little bit clunky in a couple of the tree shots later.
Yeah.
But at the time, this is phenomenal.
What's interesting is you see like every now and then like web pages where they're like, we built a car and we put a camera on one side and a TV screen on the other to fake 3D or to fake, like they're basically building versions of this suit. To me though, it kind of looks like Chris, I know you watch the Corridor Crew. But they've done a bunch of videos lately about what the state of the art is for machine learning and rotoscoping people out of videos. And so this kind of looks like that, but when it goes wrong. And it's and by the way, it's crazy how easy it is to do that now.
I thought it was interesting that the fill-in was them just using different lenses on the camera.
Is that how they did it?
Like, yeah. So it says in the Wikipedia page, they had a chroma key guy in a chroma key suit, which they shot it. That gave them the sort of negative space, and then they repeated it without the actors with a different lens width. And that's what gave it the sort of Predator effect.
Neat.
That is cool.
So just play this for 5 seconds.
Did you find Hawkins?
I can't tell.
Which
That's
is
exactly what you want to hear, right?
Yep.
right. You've given me the worst answer to this question. But of course, like everybody in this, they're just strung up by their entrails.
This I love because play just a little bit, but this is like an absurdly long vertical pan. Like it goes on forever.
Yeah.
And it's just a great horror movie shot. Like,
was that a bloody stick or a vine? Or was
Yeah,
that
it was some-
with their vines. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, it was some vine, but I mean, I put it right before you see the body, but it's like 15 seconds long.
Yeah,
where
yeah.
It's just going up and up and up with blood and foliage.
Yeah. Later, when they're building all those traps, they come up with a lot of very rope-like vines. You know, I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
Come on.
So this is like the culmination of about 35 seconds worth of everyone emptying all their bullets.
That's right.
No, this is this is why Arnold is using a spear in the final scene.
Because they use all their bullets. Yeah.
Fuck you, Fog.
Well, a hell of a way to trim the hedges.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they must have left an enormous amount of shells on the ground.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Where are we at the big scene here now? Am I at the right timestamp? Man,
Predator.
I got the wrong timestamp in here.
Did you use the right video, Mr. Mulder?
I did, but this isn't the shot.
52-23, isn't it?
No, that wasn't the shot that I was looking for.
What are you looking for?
I was looking for the scene where he's like the first time you start seeing him, but all in bits and pieces.
Oh.
Like they don't give you a full body shot of him in this sequence. Oh, well, here we go. I must have just.
Split.
But it's just like you don't see him really. It's just arms and bits.
Yeah.
And you see it's a dude or it's a bipedal alien thing, a man in a suit, not Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Mm-hmm. It's funny, you know, this guy, if he hadn't, he died young from an AIDS blood transfusion. But I bet you he would have been like the fish guy, Saru, of his day. Otherwise,
So just play this for 5 seconds. I just appreciated this is one of the first movies I can remember that actually shows you the horrors of true universal health care. Unintended.
that's cute.
I mean, he's not wrong.
You're wrong.
Nope.
I mean, Arnold lived.
What a great line.
Oh, look.
Jumping away is here.
If it bleeds,
Yeah.
we can kill it.
Another beauty, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Another iconic line.
That man, he has wisdom.
Oh, it's a bird.
Ah. That was you, Chris.
Sorry, I was distracted by the bird like going blah, 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 against the window.
He shaved himself. It looked painful.
Yeah, he was shaving himself, and I was like, look at how tough that guy is. He's got a single-bladed razor, and he's just shaving in the jungle.
You should fuck
He's
it and go
super
take
tough.
5 blades.
Right?
Mac! Get Ramirez on his feet, get to the chopper.
The first get to the
That was
chopper.
the first one, right? Yeah, so I noted one later as well.
Yeah.
Get to the chopper! So many iconic lines for this guy.
The get to the chopper was an achievement in Warcraft, in WoW, where you would get a motorcycle mount, and I definitely got that achievement.
Okay, so that's weird. So I had a thing. I guess you're getting to it. So, all right. So you can see his head, his eyes, his nose, his mouth. When he was shot in the head with the little 3 laser thing from the alien, it was like buckets of blood. You know, it's just gone. Right. And then they come back to him and his head's like completely intact. And I'm like,
Yeah. And it's
no.
It's the same weapon that just blew out Blaine's entire chest, right? But somehow it
Somehow the head's back.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to spend the money to do an effect like that. It's easier to just show them.
But they had already
Dead.
done it.
Oh, yeah. So this is where it rips off his arm if you play this. Still firing.
Still shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's like tap, 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 tap. tap,
And if
tap,
you
tap.
look, it's not even his trigger finger that's on the trigger. If you look, the trigger finger's flopping. It's just, see? It's his ring or his middle finger that he has in the. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's really funny.
We should probably talk to, who's it, Sean McTiernan, who directed this? See if we could fix
Doug
that.
McTiernan. Doug McTiernan?
It was a McTiernan.
He did a million action movies. John.
Get to the chopper!
That's the big one. Get to the chopper.
Get to the chopper.
Yeah, that's definitely the main course. Get to the chopper.
Yeah.
First one was just a little appetizer.
All right, warm up. Ooh, good pause on this one. That's me. Haha, I did this.
Yeah, that's good.
But now, you know, we actually get to see. That's the first time I think that we see his face, like actually zoomed in. It's a pretty brief shot, but like it's just the mask. But that's the first time that like you really get a face shot of the predator.
You get a better look at his body too.
Yeah.
See how big he is.
And I think that's one of the things that this movie is really effective at. They dole out. I mean, they got one monster. You know, you don't just show him all in the first 7 minutes. They really wait.
Judicious use of the monster, and when it finally the payoff comes, you're not disappointed.
It's worth
No.
Yeah.
So this I feel like is an iconic shot.
Yes.
But I gotta say, smearing yourself with mud to make yourself invisible to this advanced alien life form, it's a little ridiculous.
Kind of gross.
You know,
I mean-
the only thing you got to do to be invisible is just put mud on you.
I mean, the thermal differential is just not going to be there.
Right, you're gonna warm up that mud almost instantly. You're gonna have to constantly be reapplying.
Yeah, right? So it's like maybe if he was swimming in the mud or if mud is flowing over.
I mean, surely the Earth isn't the only planet with mud, right? This would have come up centuries ago.
Yeah. Somewhere in the advanced technology it requires to travel interstellar distances.
They would have come across mud.
So
Yeah,
this was kind of.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
Now, the implication is that they only see in thermal. I don't know. This doesn't make any sense.
When his helmet finally comes off and they show what the alien's real vision is like, it looks like it's partially thermal, but it's really horrible. Like their vision is terrible for being a predatory.
Do they use smell? Do they use like echolocation? You know,
They're an advanced predator. They would use everything at their disposal.
sure.
In this shot, play just a few seconds here. So you see he's got some sort of eye tracking
Yeah, it's
on
nice.
his little shoulder cannon.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to note that like that again exists in a sort of the parameters of technology that could totally exist today. Now we don't have something that launches lightning bolts that can put a hole in a man's chest that size, but you can totally head track. Yeah, that I know of. But you can totally head track. That's pretty straightforward. I also like this shot where he pulls the guy's spinal column and skull out in one move. Just all right, like peeling a banana.
Gross. Sorry, I'm gonna laugh for a minute instead of fast forwarding. Oh dear.
This was like Nate's favorite part. It's like all notes for Nate.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
we did just get like the Nate block.
Sorry, because now we're in the Arnold versus Predator, and
Yeah.
number one, like for some reason, even though they were armed to the teeth, Arnold's like making
Conan.
traps with vines and like bamboo poles and like setting up an obstacle course for the Predator to come find him.
It's like one
And,
click
like-
away from Home Alone.
Yeah.
It's weird that he had no sidearm. right?
Yeah, it's like, dude, if you had saved like a half dozen shells from your party in the mowing the jungle, you'd be in better shape.
You could have taken some of Carl's bullets. That gun still had some in it.
All right. You didn't need him.
So here's where he calls the Predator to him.
I think that moment might be the beginning of the peak of Arnold's career. Like that's the moment, the scream.
I don't know, Running Man was great. I mean, there's a lot of great Arnold.
He's
out
got some
there.
great stuff for sure. But that's a pretty
He
good
was-
yell.
He wasn't a terrible governor either. I mean, honestly, his peak came late.
Oh, we're jumping a bit here.
Nate's second to last.
So many Nate notes. Nate just really likes watching the gore.
No, he's a caveman aficionado.
Yeah, like the fact that we're basically fighting space age technology with Stone Age technology here.
Yeah.
Same thing. He ties his knife to a bamboo pole, and like that's the best he's got right now.
As you do.
He can cover himself with mud. He can put his knife on a stick.
He's a caveman. He's Dutch.
Yep. And here's the money shot.
Pause, because money shot's a few seconds out. There we go. So, the Muppet Show just came out on Disney Plus. So in the last couple of days, I've watched a few episodes of the Muppet Show, and Waldorf and who's the other heckler?
Statler.
They do the thing, the puppeteering thing, where they like, you punch the puppet and they squish their face. And after watching several episodes and watched it, I saw Waldorf do that gag like 3 times. I'm looking at that and thinking, oh, he's just a puppet and just squished his face.
I'm picturing Waldorf going, "Oh, look at the overbite on that guy!"
You one ugly motherfucker.
So the thing that struck me about this is borderline slapstick slap.
Yeah.
You can play it for another couple seconds.
No, just play that over
But if
and
I
over
keep
again.
playing it over and over again, it becomes even more slapsticky.
Shit.
I was watching this. I was like, that's not really tonally correct with the rest of the scene, but let's go with it.
Usually he just eats people, but
Well, in addition to never encountering mud before, maybe they've never made a fist. They've never run into a species that make fists.
They've evolved beyond that.
This is the same guy who unzipped a guy's spine, and he's like, pet. You know, it's like, really? Why are you taking it easy on him?
Come on.
Oh,
Kill me, I'm here. Kill me.
Kill me.
Thinking about it.
Eh.
It takes him way too long to put together that the guy's got a detonator. Like,
Yeah.
like, I mean, you know, there's
Rob,
like
could you play that laugh a little bit longer? But
Oh,
keep going, Nate.
Going back 140-27.
Yeah, 140-27. Play me the laugh. Stop. We're gonna get copy strike. But you know who's the laugher?
Larry?
Peter Cullen, the voice of Optimus Prime.
Really?
I was listening to this and I'm like, that's a familiar voice.
Weird.
Turns out it's freaking Optimus Prime doing the voice of the laugh. I'm
is
like, holy crow.
it is a bit too like
It's so
villainy.
hammy.
Like,
Clean.
yeah, it's like I expect him to be playing like a pipe organ, you know.
Vincent Price wasn't available.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say at this point, I'm glad that they did eventually get to the chopper. That's
Well,
good.
one person, Dutch, made it
Yeah.
out.
No, the girl did too. The girl
And the
made it.
girl, yeah.
Yep.
Can't kill a girl.
And the other thing that I really like that not enough movies do, this movie ends with the thing where all the actors like get to look at the camera and
Look
see
at the
their
camera
name.
and smile. Yeah.
Oh, look at us. We're all friends. We had fun making this movie. Everybody's all dirty and in the jungle. And there he is. That's a fun movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's peak 80s right there.
yep.
Whoa. The guy who played Paul Chavez, who played one of the first guys. He was in that War of the Worlds show out of Canada. God, this is blowing my mind. I just looked this guy up. Unbelievable.
I actually I'm not suggesting it for the next movie, but I don't think I've ever seen Commando.
Really?
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've heard. It's like a
Those
lesser
people running
this.
around with that underpants on.
Commando is like peak Arnold Schwarzenegger one-liner. It's like vehicle for him to deliver one-liners.
Is that the one with what's her name as the daughter that he's saving? Alyssa Milano. Yeah.
And
That's a ridiculous movie.
The guy from Road Warrior, the crazy Mohawk guy, is the bad guy in that one.
Right.
Too.
Vernon Wells.
Yeah.
So whose turn is it for next week?
It's yours, I believe.
Okay. I have two choices for us. Do we want to watch an action movie or a comedy? And I say comedy with air quotes.
Oof.
Oh God.
I think action movie it is then.
All right. We've discussed
air quotes.
It depends because sometimes it's more fun to lampoon a really bad comedy.
It's true.
And sometimes it just
That's true.
Well, you got
hard to say.
the next two on my list. I won't. You tell me you want a comedy or action. I'll tell you the bad news.
It's your choice.
All right. Well, we're gonna do an action movie. I have a long history of my childhood was filled with the VHS tapes, which was all the second movie in the series, which isn't as good, or a later version, which is why my introduction to James Bond was Moonraker, and I think it's time to watch Moonraker.
All right.
There it is. I'll save my commentary. There's something about Moonraker that I've always just adored.
There's a lot about Moonraker that I've always adored, but as we've discussed many times in the past, my love for reasonably accurate 70s looking space stuff, it's limitless. Gentlemen, let's say goodbye to...
Accurate?
It's a space shuttle thing.
Listen, let's watch it.
We'll save it next week.
Let's comment on it.
It's not that accurate. Let's not talk about the space station. All right. Let's say goodbye to Chris DeBona.
See ya.
Nados
I mean, sorry, I don't have time to bleed.
Nados
Fairly well.
Rob, get to the chopper.
Get to the chopper.
All right, this has been episode 583 of Geeks in Space. I'm Rob Commander Taco Malda. I'm pushing a button. Goodbye.